Jai Gurudev, welcome to Connect with the Divine with Paramahamsa Sri Swami Vishwananda. Paramahamsa Vishwananda is an enlightened, God-realized spiritual master. His mission on earth is to open the hearts of mankind, and through his Bhakti Marga organization, he helps spiritual seekers experience and cultivate a very uniquely personal relationship with God. The Sanskrit word bhakti means love and devotion, and Bhakti Marga is the path of living and loving the divine in daily life. One way to do this is through chanting the name of God. This practice is also known as japam. Chanting is a very simple yet powerful practice that has been used for thousands of years. Ancient saints and yogis have called upon the power of chanting to help calm the mind and to attain higher states of consciousness. Many different spiritual traditions use chanting as a way to connect more intimately with the source of life itself. Chanting the Lord's name invokes His divine presence, and chanting with love helps you to realize Him within your own heart. You will notice that Paramahamsa Vishwananda is using a string of 108 prayer beads called a mala. A mala carries the vibrational energy of the divine name and helps to keep track of the repetitions. Paramahamsa Vishwananda will come online in just a few moments, and when he does, he will invite you to chant along with him for approximately 15 minutes. After the chanting is finished, he will lead everyone in a very short guided meditation to support Mother Earth. Once the meditation is finished, please sit quietly for a few moments to enjoy the effects of your japam. When Paramahamsa Vishwananda comes back online, he will give satsang by answering your spiritual questions and revealing timeless truths to help you rise above the challenges and fears of today's world. It is very rare to have such access to a living master, and it is even more special to have the opportunity to learn directly from him. We hope you enjoy your connection with the divine.
Have you ever looked into the eyes of a spiritual master? Come and experience it for yourself. Look into the eyes of real, unconditional love and let it open your heart. Paramahamsa Sri Swami Vishwananda is a God-realized master who lives in constant union with the divine. He lives at a place in the heart of Europe. It is called the home of the Divine Mother. From here, he is now giving what is called darshan online so that everyone can benefit. Darshan means divine sight, but simple words cannot do justice to the incredible experience of seeing and being seen by him. Look into the eyes of unconditional love and let it open your heart. You can now have your own experience of this divine master from wherever you are. Feel it for yourself and let love return.
गिरिधारी विठला 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 माझा विठला
गिरिधारी लाल की श्री गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी 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 राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे 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 श्याम 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 राधे 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 कृष्ण 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 राधे 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 श्याम श्याम राधे राधे गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी श्री गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी सभी बातों का गाना मेरे दिल तुम्हारा है सभी बातों का गाना मेरे दिल तुम्हारा है बोलो राधे कृष्णा नाम तुम्हारा नाम प्रेम है बोलो राधे कृष्णा नाम तुम्हारा नाम प्रेम है बांसुरी वाली पीतांबरधारी कृष्ण गोकुल प्यारे बांसुरी वाली पीतांबरधारी कृष्ण गोकुल प्यारी राधा जीवन मधुसूदन नारायण हरि श्री गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी श्री गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी गिरिधारी 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 श्री गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी श्री गोवर्धन गिरिधारी राधा रानी का प्यारी राधे कृष्ण Krishna Radhe Krishna 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 Radhe 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 Sham 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 Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe Krishna Radhe Sham Krishna Radhe 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 Sham Sham Radhe Radhe Shri Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyari Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyari सभी बातों का गाना मेरे दिल तुम्हारा है सभी बातों का गाना मेरे दिल तुम्हारा है बोलो राधे कृष्णा नाम तुम्हारा नाम प्रेमा है बोलो राधे कृष्णा नाम तुम्हारा नाम प्रेमा है बंसुरी वाली पीतांबरधारी कृष्ण गोकुल प्यारे बंसुरी वाली पीतांबरधारी कृष्ण गोकुल प्यारी राधा जीवन मधुसूदन Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyare Shri Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyare Shri Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyare Shri Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyare Radhe Krishna 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 Radhe 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 Sham 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 Radhe 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 Krishna Radhe Krishna Radhe Radhe Sham Radhe Sham 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 Radhe Radhe Oh Sham Sham Radhe Radhe 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 Shri Govardhan Giridhari Radha Rani ka pyari
Shri Vrindavan Shri Vrindavan Shri Vrindavan Achore Ban Krishna Krishna Radhe 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 Shambho Radhe Shambho 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 Radhe Radhe
Radhe Krishna Radhe Krishna 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 Radhe 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 Shambho Radhe Shambho 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 Radhe Radhe
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Radhe 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 Shambho Radhe Shambho 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 Radhe Radhe
Radhe Krishna 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 Radhe 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 Shambho Radhe Shambho Shama, Radhe Radhe.
Krishna Kaneya Giridhar Gopala, Krishna Kaneya Giridhar Gopala, Krishna Kaneya Giridhar Gopala, Krishna Kaneya Giridhar Gopala. Bhajamana Krishna,
पंढरीनाथ महाराज की जय। नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम, 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 हरि नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम, 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 नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम। विठ्ठल 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 एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई 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 तुकाराम। निवृत्त ज्ञानदेव सुपान भक्ताबाई एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम। निवृत्त ज्ञानदेव सुपान भक्ताबाई एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम। एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई तुकाराम। एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, एकनाथ नामदेव तुकाराम, नामदेव तुकाराम जनाबाई 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 तुकाराम।
पांडुरंग जय जय, पांडुरंग जय जय, पांडुरंग जय जय,
Jai Rama Krishna Hari, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hari. Nivrutti Janadev Subhana Muktabai Ekanatha Namadev Tukaram. Nivrutti Janadev Subhana Muktabai Ekanatha Namadev Tukaram. Ekanatha Namadev Tukaram, Ekanatha Namadev Tukaram. Ekanatha Namadev Tukaram, Ekanatha Namadev Tukaram. Namdev Tukaram, 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 Vitthala 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 Oh Vitthala 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 Oh Vitthala 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 Pundali Kavarade Hari Eknath Dev Tukaram Satguru Swami Vishwananda Maharaj Ki Jai.
Radhe 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 Radhe
Jai Gurudev, everybody. Let us chant the divine name together. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Namo Narayanaya, 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Jai Gurudev again, everybody. So I'll ask Jai Gopal to ask your question now.
Dear Guruji, we often hear to be ourselves, but where is the line between not bothering about what other people say about us and being ungrounded in our spiritual path? When do we listen to what other people say about us?
Actually, what you have, firstly, to be yourself, you have to learn not to listen to what other people say about you at all. Because more you listen to what people say, people are saying their own opinion about you. Which means when somebody is telling you something, they are just expressing what they have about themselves. And that what they project upon you, whether they like you or they don't like you, it is what they have inside of them. And that what they will give you onto the outside. So your question is, where is the line between not bothering about what other people say about us? You see, if you start listening to people, you will stop living your life. And this is a mistake that everybody does. They always want acknowledgement from other people for them to feel good about. But you have to know that all the acknowledgement which other people give to you, it is not right, because they are acknowledging themselves towards you. So it's not about listening what other people say about you. In your spiritual path, like you said, being ungrounded in our spiritual path. It's not true. On the spiritual path, you should never be ungrounded. On the spiritual path, you should be fully grounded. Both of your foot should be fully rooted on earth. So I will not accept that in this question you say that ungrounded spiritual path. This doesn't exist. Of course you have individual people sometimes which they didn't understand the spiritual path, they lose ground, then they start flying into their own fantasy. And that is not spirituality. This is ungroundedness. But if you are fully on your path, you're fully rooted upon, there is no way but you can fly into your fantasy. Because spirituality has to ground you here and make you realize the divine being fully present. You can't realize the divine when you are in your fantasy world. Because the divine is not a fantasy which you create and you entertain inside of your mind. The divine is fully present inside of you. That's why, you see, if your mind is fully into a fantasy state, when you leave this planet, you will go to this fantasy land. And then you will have to come back here again. There is so many fantasy land, there's so many fantasy heavens, which is not permanent. The only one place which is permanent is Vaikuntha, where the lotus feet of Sriman Narayana is. That is the only place where you have to be. And this is where your spirituality must elevate you toward that. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 8 verse 8, where Lord Krishna said, with a mind completely fixed, which is not moving left and right, and with constant meditation, which is the absorption of the mind, with constant meditation upon the Supreme Purusha, the Splendid One goes to him. When we see what Lord Krishna said in that verse, said, with the mind in constant absorption upon the Supreme Lord. So here he classified clearly what is the goal of your mind. What is the goal of one's meditation? The goal of one meditation is to focus upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Purusha, the Supreme Lord himself. And how would the one mind really attain to that is without any ego. When the ego in ourself is dead, when this egoistic feeling is completely removed, what makes our mind jump around is that egoistic mind, which is longing and looking for acknowledgement from others and looking for things to be happy on the outside. But when that ego is not even there, when that mind has still itself completely, then there is no point of acknowledgement from X, Y, Z. Because deep inside of you, you will hear that inner voice, you will hear the divine voice which is inside of you, talking clearly as I'm talking to you. You may not like very often what your inner self tells you, but this is the truth, where the divine is talking for you. And that's what you have to still your mind through meditation, still your mind through japam, chanting of the divine name, still your mind through meditating upon the Leela of the Lord, still your mind by concentrating upon the Supreme himself, as your goal is that. You see, then your mind will be fully absorbed into that remembrance of the divine. The mind will stay awake to a state of constant meditation in whatever you're doing, whether you are working, whether you are talking to somebody, but yet deep inside you will be in that peaceful state, in that peaceful and blissful calmness inside of you, but nothing will bother you. And that is not about other people, because your spiritual path is between you and God. Of course, Guru is there. Guru and God is the same. So it is between you, Guru and God. That's it, nobody else. So listening to what other people say about you doesn't mean anything, because people will just tell you what they have inside of them. If they have rubbish inside of them, that is the rubbish that they will throw at you and tell you, but you are also a rubbish like them. But if somebody is centered into divine consciousness inside of them, they center themselves into that love, that's what they will tell you. And take the good things. If you want to take things what other people want to tell you, take the good things that people tell of you. And the people who tell you nasty things about you, tell them to keep their rubbish for themselves. That you don't need to take. So learn to differentiate who you're talking to. And learn to differentiate that you don't need any acknowledgement from anybody on your spiritual path and to your path towards Guru and God. It's only between you, Guru and God, nobody else.
Guruji, it is said that the negative qualities that we perceive in others are just a reflection of the negative qualities that we have in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't yell at other people, or I don't abuse animals, and yet I perceive that in other people. So how can those observations be negative qualities in me?
No, look, there is a certain difference between the two. When you see that people are yelling at others and abusing animals, all this stuff, it's not that it is inside of you. There is also an individuality in yourself. You are different from other people. So it's not always what you perceived in others that means that it is inside of you. There is a certain, you have to also use your brain a little bit and reason a little bit. So if somebody is abusing animal and beating the animal and shouting and all these things, if you see that this is not you, so why you have to identify yourself with that? There's no point identify yourself towards others. It's not that everything that you perceive in other people, that means that you have it inside of you. So use your reason a little bit. And when you start using your reason, you will see that each person is individual. And each person have their own quality. And each person's quality doesn't mean that it is part of you. So you don't need to make others' quality your own. So differentiate from these qualities, So for example, if somebody is murdering somebody, doesn't mean that you also have a little bit of murderer inside of you. That's why you see that. No, it is not. So please, in such question, you have also to use your reason. So you don't need to, perceive the negativity of other people inside of you. You can also perceive the positive inside of you in everybody else. So try to see that positivity firstly inside of you, and also see the positive in others. So maybe somebody can be a very bad person in front of you, but this have nothing to do with you. If the person is bad, let him be with his badness. You have good inside of you, hold upon your goodness inside of you. Jai Gurudev.
Paramahamsa Vishwananda recommends we keep chanting the name of God every day. Just 15 minutes a day will help you to create an oasis of positivity and divinity in your life. We invite you to submit questions and learn more about Paramahamsa Vishwananda and his Bhakti Marga mission by visiting paramahamsavishwananda.com. Thank you for joining us today. Please join us again for another live Connect with the Divine session every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 o'clock Germany time.